If you come from a struggle, or if you have struggled, it's actually one of the greatest gifts you can have. Bit of all of it. So first I'll just start with the introduction. My name is Ryan. This is my wife Jenna. We are local entrepreneurs here to Sanford. We own a few local businesses. Our primary business being One Source Branding and Media. It's a business that we built from our kitchen and a laptop about 4 years ago. And as of today, we have 3 locations, 3 offices here in downtown Sanford. We have a full team, a full staff, and we work with a lot of small businesses all throughout the United States. So what we do is we help them brand their business, start their business. So I began finding my journey through finding jobs and finding careers. As I got a little bit older, around 20 to 21 years old, I felt like I was headed in the right direction, and then life hit me really hard. At the same time I was having a son, my father passed away. So 2 weeks before my son was born, I got a phone call that my father had passed away. And through all of that, I went through a lot of difficult things, such as addictions. Just did not feel like I had purpose in life, didn't feel like I was really worth anything to anyone. And that lasted so long. Moving into the age of 30, I started to realize that I wanted to try entrepreneurship. And so I began trying multiple things, starting multiple companies. A lot of them failed until I came across what I wanted to be a large apparel brand. So I started this apparel brand. It was basically a percentage of every purchase would donate to a charity. It started to really do well, really take off. About that time, social media was coming around pretty heavy. We started to really get a buzz across the United States, started to catch on. I opened up a store in the mall. So everything seemed if it was going well. I was gonna be this successful entrepreneur. I was gonna have this amazing clothing brand that was gonna take off, and I was gonna make all of this money and live out my dream. Well, I woke up one day to come to my store in the mall to find out that there was issues with my leasing. With that news, I ended up losing everything. I lost the stores, I lost all of my money, went through a lot of personal transitions. So one day I'm up here, I'm traveling back and forth to California, I'm going over all of these different cities, I'm meeting celebrities, I'm doing all of this stuff with my apparel brand, to all of a sudden I lose it all. I'm back at ground zero, I lost everything. That put me in a place of pure darkness, because it dug up a lot of what I had previously been through, what I had previously gone through in my life. So all of this stuff comes and hits me. I have no money, literally have no clue what I'm going to do. Shortly after, I meet my wife Jenna. We meet, we're both trying to figure out our life. We're both at rock bottom, and we decide that we're gonna start a company that helps other businesses with their social media, okay? So we start working out of our kitchen. Again, we have no money. We're living off of $20 to last us for 2 weeks. We don't really know where anything is gonna come from, and now we're gonna try to start this business. Working day after day after day after day, we began building this business that would begin to catch a little bit of movement month after month. That's gonna fast forward me to where we're at now. We built this company, we own a few different companies, all because we started somewhere in a kitchen. I don't want to spend too much more time on my past. That's why I brought you up to speed so fast, because I want to focus on what I think is going to be most important. What nobody ever taught me, what nobody ever told me, and it took me realizing and learning these lessons in life, because I think even at a young age, you guys probably have realized life is not easy. Life is hard. There are situations and circumstances that you have already been through at such a young age that are already impacting your life, and you don't really know what's going to happen. And the truth is, nobody prepares us for the reality that that's not going to change. As you get older, and as we grow up, and as we find our way in life, life is always going to throw us challenges and difficult situations. And the key is how we overcome and navigate through those situations to find your purpose and to find what it is that you want to do and what you want to do for your own life. And so I want to spend most of my time talking about those 3 keys, which are 3 foundations. One is going to be what I believe will be the most important. And I know a lot of you at your age too have a lot of dreams and ambitions that you're probably being told aren't a reality. And that's why the first and most important thing is belief. Believing in what you want to do. And I know there's probably a mixture of what you guys want to do. Some may want to be in music, some may want to own a business, some may want to be an actor, an actress, maybe even social media influencer. There's no telling. Some of you may have high ambitions to be a president, there's so many different things and so many different dreams that I'm sure that is made up amongst this group of kids. So belief is going to be the most important, and it's going to be the most challenging because there's going to be a lot of times where you may be the only one who believes in what it is that you want to do in life. And as you start to express yourself and you start to realize this is what I want to do, this is what I want to be, you're going to have friends laughing at you, you're going to have parents maybe telling you that's not possible, maybe even teachers and people in your life that are going to try to distract you from your dream and your purpose. And that's why it's really important that you root your dream into a firm belief and that you protect that with everything and realize that maybe what you want to do might not happen really quick. It might take years. For me, it took till I was the age of 36 and going through a lot of things before I found myself in a place where I really am happy in life. And so your journey, you're not going to be able to time that. You don't know how soon it's going to come. You don't know how long it's going to take. And you don't know what you're going to go through in order to accomplish that. And so that belief has to be so strong and it has to be so protected by you that you let nothing take it away from you. You let nothing destroy it. And that you protect that belief to pursue your dream and what you want to do because you really do have the option to control and to create your life. So belief is going to be the first and most important factor and step that if I could get one thing across to you guys today, it would be that. Continue believing. Second is going to be hard work and dedication. Again, with social media, we see a lot of people that are living what I call their highlight reel. We're seeing the good. We're seeing that they're winning. Maybe even from my social media, it may look like everything's great. But the reality is, it's not always great. The reality is, there's days that it's extremely hard. And there's times and moments that we go through things that sometimes we still feel like giving up, or we feel like, man, is this really, are we about to lose this? And that's a consistent repeating cycle that's going to happen. And the hard work is going to become important because you're going to get tired. You're going to feel like giving up when people are not supporting you, when people are not, backing you up and helping you accomplish what it is that you want to do. You're going to feel like giving up. And that hard work, that dedication, that obsessive passion over your goal is going to be the only thing that will help you drive towards your goal that you're trying to accomplish. None of this stuff is easy. Most of the people that we see that are what we would call successful or that have a life that we may want to have, a lot of times we don't realize the story that they have behind their success and what they had to go through, and realizing that majority, actually everyone goes through hard times. It's not easy for anyone. So making sure that you have the ability to work hard through all of the obstacles that come your way is going to be critical. The third thing, and the absolute most important, and it's probably the most difficult to understand, is your actual value and understanding who you are. Because we're going through things in life that are going to try to strip away who we are, and you're going to feel worthless, and all of these different things are going to happen, and people are going to give up on you, and you may get picked on, and all of these different situations may come. You may lose things. It may seem like everything's stacking up against you, and those are the biggest challenges that you're going to face when it comes to understanding your value and how much you are worth. And I think that that's going to be the most important, because with it not being easy, we have to understand who we are as individuals, believe in what we want, and believe in that more than any obstacle that would come our way. Just to give a few examples about value, Michael Jordan. Everybody knows who Michael Jordan is, right? So, best basketball player ever. But did you guys know that he got kicked off his high school basketball team, right? So he was told that he would never succeed in basketball. He was told that he would never be able to play basketball. So they actually kicked him off the high school basketball team because he was no good. But because he knew his value, because he knew that he had to work hard, and because he had belief in himself, he knew that he could make it to the NBA to ultimately become the best basketball player of all time against what everybody thought. And so that goes back to our situations where majority of the time, unfortunately, people aren't going to provide that support that you're going to need to move forward in life. Albert Einstein. In school, I'm sure you guys know who Albert Einstein is. Genius. But do you know that Albert Einstein didn't speak his first words until he was 4 years old? He couldn't actually read until he was 7, and he was expelled from high school. Also told that he would never amount to anything, to what now would become an ultimate genius of all time. And so again, understanding his value, understanding that no matter what everyone told him or what cards was stacked against him, he stuck to his belief, he worked hard, persistent, and he ultimately stuck to his value and who he knew that he was at his core. You know, diamonds are actually begin as coal, right? So a coal pressed in refined heat and extreme heat is what gives us diamonds. And so understanding that all of the things that you go through, all of the people that tell you you can't make it, all of the obstacles that are going to stack up against you and try to get in your way are actually the gifts, and the best thing that can happen to you for you to use it is fuel if you use the emotion correctly. Not letting the anger, the sadness, and all of that take control of us, but understanding that if you come from a struggle or if you have struggled, it's actually one of the greatest gifts you can have, because all of the greats come from extreme struggle. Nothing was handed to them. And so it really paves your path to do what you want to do, as long as you stick to those three values of believing in yourself more than anything and anyone, working hard and understanding that it's not easy, and then understanding your value. And if there's anything I can drive home again, it's that value, because I don't know your situations. I know what I've come from, and I know that people say things, and family says things, and everyone says things that make you feel like you aren't worth anything. But you do have to know that your value is extreme, because in this room, there's going to be great inventors, there's going to be business owners, there's going to be presidents, all of that just made up in this small group right here. So no matter what we've been told, you have to understand your true value and what it is and what it means to be able to be alive. One more statistic that always stands out to me, because we get caught up in life and not realizing how profound it is, you know, there's a 1 in 200 million chance of winning the lottery. Do you guys think that's a big chance, or you think it's very easy? A 1 in 200 million. Hard. It's hard, right? All right. 1 in 200,000 odds to get struck by lightning. How many people do you know that get struck by lightning? Is that a very common thing, right? So do you know, to be alive in this room right here, right now, it was a 1 in 400 trillion chance of you actually becoming a human and living on this earth right now? So understand the power and how profound that is, that you guys are here for a reason, you're here for a purpose, and whatever it is that you have inside of you that you guys are wanting to do, that everyone's telling you you can't do, or that you may be embarrassed about, it's for a purpose. That was put into you for a reason, and it was put into you so that you would bring that goal and that dream to the world because it needs it. One of the other things that really stand out to me is, do you know what the richest place on earth is? What country, or if it's a place? The richest, Russia? It's actually Dubai. Somebody said Dubai. That's what I would think. But the richest place on earth is actually a graveyard. because the amount of dreams, the amount of inventions, the amount of companies, the amount of charities, and the amount of impact that would have ultimately played out on the world that people did not pursue because they let their obstacles get in the way, or they didn't understand their value, or they didn't get the support that they needed to follow through with what they needed. They ultimately lived their life without ever pursuing their passion and their dream, not understanding that the world actually needed it. And so for you guys, just understand that the world needs you, and your passion and your purpose and whatever that is going to play a huge role. And so as you go throughout the next decades of your life and through adulthood and middle school and high school and different careers and all of these different things that you guys are going to embark on your own journey that nobody knows what lies ahead, just make sure that you protect that purpose no matter what. Don't let anyone take that from you. Don't let anyone take that value from you. Don't let anyone take your dream from you. And make sure that no matter what you do, you make an attempt, because at the end of the day, when I felt like giving up 5 years ago, I was at my end. I was 35, 36. I was done. Had I not continued and understood that I could take my pain and turn it into a passion and pursue it, then we would have never had the opportunity to build the businesses that we've had, to have the opportunities that we've had, to ultimately even get the opportunity like this to come and just share a little bit with kids like you, and maybe have one person leave here with a small impact made in understanding their value and understanding their purpose in life. So again, that's the message I want to drive home. I know there's some questions that we want to get into. I want to give some answers. And then I know there's some things with the sneakers that we're going to have to address. So I'm going to go ahead and get into that right now. And I think, are you going to pass the questions? Yeah, good job on asking that question. Man, I wish I would have understood the importance of mental health a long time ago. But at the same time, I'm excited to see that we're now starting to open up about that, because mental health is something that has been overlooked for years, but it's single-handedly the most important aspect of your life. We'll go to the gym, we'll eat clean, whatever the case may be. We'll dress nice, whatever we have to do to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves, but we overlook mental health. And mental health plays such an important role in your life, because at the end of the day, your biggest battle isn't going to be with those who don't believe in you or any of that. It's going to be your own thoughts, your own mind, that's going to tell you things and that you're going to have to deal with the most. So when it comes to mental health, if you can learn right now to pay attention to your mindset and understanding the power of your thoughts and words, and that what you say and what you speak and what you think plays such a big role in your life, then I would absolutely say, please start paying attention to that. Some of the ways that mental health can be impacted is your environment, who you're surrounding yourself with, what you're surrounding yourself with, and making sure that you're taking that time for your mental health. And that could mean many different things. That just depends on someone's own enjoyments. I think doing things that we enjoy and make sure that we're taking that time. And understanding too that when your mind is becoming a challenge for you, if you can separate yourself just a little bit, and I know that sounds weird, and I don't want to get too into the whole the mind thing, because it can get a little weird, but understanding that we are not our thoughts, okay? And if you cannot get consumed and wrapped up in your thoughts and learn to observe your thoughts, that will change everything in your life. And the sooner you can do that, the better. But if you start having crazy thoughts, or thoughts of you can't do this or whatever the case may be, if you can learn to stop and see where those thoughts are coming from, or stop those thoughts from taking over, it'll change everything in your life.
All right, this is a very important question. Probably the most important question of all.
What are your favorite pair of Jordans? My favorite pair of Jordans. Who said they know? The Jordan 1s? So this is a very hard question for me, because I get asked a lot. So my favorite Jordans are Jordan 1s, Jordan 3s, Jordan 4s. Those are, majority of my collection are made up of Jordan 1s, 3s, and 4s. I do love the 1s. But I would say if I had to pick, my favorite are probably Jordan 4s. 13s, 4s, that's what I'm wearing right now are 4s. But I really stick to the 1s, 3s, and the 4s. So again, 90% of my Jordan collection is going to be made up of those shoes.
What was your biggest fear you had to overcome?
My biggest fear? My biggest fear I've had to overcome? Failure used to be a fear of mine. So that used to be my biggest fear until I learned that failure is actually a good thing and you shouldn't be scared to fail. And the more that you fail, the more chance and the more likely you are to succeed. So I would say it used to be failure, but right now my biggest fear is regret. I fear regret. The last thing I want to do is look back and wish I would have tried something or wish that I would have done something, but I didn't because I feared failure. When failure, I've learned, is actually the only way to accomplish where it is that I want to get. I have to fail my way there. So definitely regret. You don't want to look back and regret anything in your lifetime when we reach the end of our life. That, I believe, would be the worst thing that could happen, is you wish you would have done something.
All right, next question.
Have you ever made something for a client that they didn't like?
Have I ever made something for a client that they didn't like? Yes. Yes, we've had that happen a few times. That's going to happen. Again, it goes back to that failure thing, right? Yeah, we fail all the time. I would say on a daily basis, we make some sort of a mistake or failure or something doesn't work out. As far as a client actually not enjoying the work or complaining about it, we also do have that happen. So when it comes to that, again, it's all on how you perceive failure, and I would hope that you guys will learn to adapt failure and learn to love failure, because you're going to have it. So when it happens, it's all in how you respond to it. So anytime a client complains about the work, we try to find out where it went wrong, what is it that they expected, and then what we didn't deliver on. And our number one goal is to always try to make it better. You know, always try to have them give us a chance to make it better.
How do you get over your past so easily? I have a hard time with it.
How do I get over my past? That took a long time. It took a really long time because, you know, we do things, and again, I think it goes back to the failure thing. You know, now that I've been able to understand that, I'm able to get over my past pretty easily. But it really just took me looking back at the things that I was dissatisfied in or the mistakes that I made and accepting them and understanding that at the end of the day, we can't go back, right? So I could spend all of my time, you know, being depressed or sad about what I did in the past, but that wouldn't ultimately solve anything. It's just hurting my present and hurting my future. So when it comes to addressing your past, the best thing that you can do, honestly, is look back at it, figure out what you can learn from it, how it can help you moving forward, and then realize that you can't do anything about it and move forward. And I know that's a very surface answer, but that in its truest form is how I get over my past. I'm sorry, say that again? What in life am I most grateful for? Ooh. Honestly, I'm so grateful for everything. Like this moment right here, I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for a lot. I would say that more than anything, life itself. You know, every time I get to wake up in the morning time and realize that I have another chance, I have another day that I can try to do things, that I can live life, to me is where I start with my gratitude. And health, you know, understanding that, you know, there's a lot of people who face circumstances from the moment that they're born, or people that, you know, have to deal with certain obstacles as they're younger or even moving into adulthood. And so the fact that I can wake up and be healthy every day, my gratefulness starts right there. Some of the companies I've helped get started. So we work with a lot of different companies. So let's see, I'll bring up, there are a few celebrities we work with. If any of you know rapper The Game, we've done websites for The Game, Little Duval. We've helped build construction companies, roofing companies, auto repair companies, gyms, fitness, clothing brands, you name it, we pretty much have worked on it. We do a lot of restaurants, a lot of home service are really big for us. And then we work with a lot of startup brands. So we do a lot with the apparel industry. Due to my previous experience in apparel, a lot of people come to us that are wanting to start a clothing brand or wanting to start some sort of a fashion brand. So we do a lot of that.
How do you come up with ideas to make marketing different?
Coming up with ideas to make marketing different. We all have creativity at our core, and understanding that those ideas that you have, being comfortable with the ideas that go through my mind that may seem a little odd or a little out there, understanding that those aren't crazy ideas, they're actually ideas of creativity, and just getting comfortable with expressing that and expressing our creativity and our ideas and not keeping ourselves in a box has probably been the biggest key to OneSource Branding and Media's success and our team's success. We don't operate like a lot of companies do. We operate outside of the box. You know, we are more focused on being creative, having fun, and enjoying what we do than we are creating a work, a typical work environment. So that's also understanding that you can create the type of culture and environment that you love. You can create that around you in any situation. And so by having that type of a work environment, it helps our creativity be able to vary for different companies and brands.
Why did you choose to come to Sanford instead of any other place in the world?
Okay. It's one of those weird things. I feel Sanford, we actually had no connections to Sanford. We lived in Daytona Beach, and again, I touched on it earlier, we were at rock bottom. When I say rock bottom, we were really at rock bottom in our life. And so we had to make a decision to change our life. And one thing that has always helped me is again, goes back to the environment. If you feel like you cannot move or breathe or you're not making any type of progress, always start with your environment. Changing it up or going someplace new, it gives you the opportunity to have a fresh start. And so that's what happened with us with Sanford. We actually started coming to historic downtown Sanford to work remote. And the more that we came, the more in love with the town that we fell for and the businesses. We love the community feel of Sanford opposed to what we see in big cities or we had experienced previously. Sanford is, and I know for probably a lot of you that may be from here or have lived here their whole life, because I haven't, Sanford is a really special place. And we travel pretty often. I mean, constantly to the West Coast and California and Colorado and all of these amazing places. And while we love those places, there's something special about Sanford. And when you see Sanford growing the way that it is right now and all of these new people coming here, it's for that same reason. There's a very unique sense of community in Sanford. And so that definitely attracted us to Sanford. So.
Did you know it was called Bokeh?
Bokeh?
Yes.
No, I didn't for the longest. I forget how I even found out about that. But no, it took a while before I found out that it was called Bokeh. I knew nothing about it. Again, I had no relationship no connections, and really no knowledge of Sanford at all when we moved here. We had been here about 3 weeks in a row. We were down here on a Wednesday. We had lunch. We got on the interstate, and I looked at her and I said, let's leave Daytona and move to Sanford. That was on a Wednesday. We left our apartment on Friday and actually moved 48 hours later with no plans or any connections here. So I had really no previous knowledge or understanding of Sanford until we moved here.
What are some of your favorite shoes to wear? What shoes do you have in your collection?
My favorite shoes to wear, going back to the Jordans, majority of my shoe collection is Jordans. I love Jordans, so that's always my go-to when it comes to collecting. Again, the Jordan 1s, Jordan 3s, 4s, and I actually have grown to love Jordan 5s lately. So that's become a big problem for me in my pocketbook over the past few months. So I've gotten a few pair of 5s. And then my favorite is the off-whites. I love anything off-white. Anytime I get a chance to get any of the off-white Jordan collabs, I definitely try to get those.
We have time for one more question.
She's got her hand up right here. Miss Stella, you want me to? I do. I have 2 kids. So I have a 12-year-old daughter that actually turns 13 in 2 or 3 weeks. And then I have a 17-year-old son who is actually a senior in high school and graduating this year. And yep, so I have 2 kids and actually hoping for 1 more. So, yeah, crazy as it sounds, 1 more. So.
Are there any more questions before we wrap things up?
Well, that's a good question. My failures and pain and losses is what I learned to use as motivation. And for me personally, and I think that will work with you guys, and that's what I mean. When you can learn to take your pain, your struggles, and your failures, and instead of letting them eat you up emotionally, you take that and allow it to fuel your passion and determination. That's what really helped change my life, because I was tired of failing. I was tired of not accomplishing anything. And so that motivated me more and more to keep going, because I refused to leave as a failure. I wanted to have something that succeeded. And then when I realized that all of my failures were actually teaching me things that are the only reason that we've been able to do well with our business, I used those failures to motivate us.
Now this last question here, he's not asking us to be funny. There are many of you who have put down on your career plan this exact question. Okay?
Might be a Fortnite Pro.
Fortnite Pro. So, and you know, there's a lot of adults and maybe teachers that will not like my answer. Can you? Absolutely you can. But when it comes to, you know, being a professional gamer or a social media influencer or a musician or anything like that, I would just say if that's what you want to do, then you have to really understand the amount of work and time that goes into that. If you're willing to take it serious and realize that, you know, these gamers or influencers that are, you know, successful based off of their views, understanding that, you know, they didn't post 1 video per month or 1 video per week or let their fear stop them from posting videos. You know, they had to post or stream their games day in and day out, day after day, no matter if there were 2 people tuning in or 5 people tuning in, they had to be able to make it through that and make it through that what would be embarrassment to get to where they're at. So I believe you can do anything just because it's proven. So for me to say that it's not possible would be crazy, because it's been done, and it's been done at a high level. So I think at the end of the day, and as cheesy as it may sound or cliche as it may sound, you really can do and make a living out of anything that you want to do if you're fully committed to it. And that commitment requires a very high level of commitment that's not typically associated with a lot of other things.
All right, well, let's go ahead and say thank you.